Hey everybody, welcome back to Michael Clarida Arts. Thank you for stopping by today. So, as noted in the thumbnail, we're going to be doing some drawing today, which you guys know this is a drawing channel, and I want to make sure and have that component in the videos going forward because at the end of the day, I want to make sure and cover those bases, even if we are doing reviews. I typically don't like reviewing products unless they have some application to the art studio. And you guys know that I have a now collection of audio devices. So throughout my tenure as an illustrator over the past 25 years, I've reviewed and used a myriad of different devices to listen to music throughout the day. I typically like to have over the ear because I get ear fatigue, and I've explained this in previous videos that I need to have something that I can wear for long lengths of time. It has good battery life, it sounds good, it is immersive because I have a noisy environment around me. I live on a farm, we have cows outside, we have farm equipment, and I also have children. So I want to make sure and immerse myself in that environment. And a lot of times the devices that I use don't really measure up. Some are really good, some are not great, some have good sound, some have mediocre sound, some have good battery life, some don't have quite good battery life. So I really haven't landed on quote unquote the best option. So as I continue with the channel, we'll probably end up reviewing more and more products as it applies to the studio, but specifically stuff like these. These, as you see, have a different design. I think whenever they sent me these, this is by Soundpeats, Soundpeats, I looked at these and I thought, what the heck? How do you put them on your ear? Typically, I'm used to in the ear, like your iPod Pros, AirPods, AirPod Pros, your Sonys, your Samsung buds, stuff like that that goes in the ear and separates you from the environment. Recently, I reviewed a few products that look like this right here. Has the battery that goes behind the ear, and then you have the microphone element and the speaker element that goes on the ear but not in the ear. And they were fine. These products were fine. They didn't blow my socks off, because there is a balance between immersion and comfort. Yeah, so the people at Soundpeats sent me the PearlClip Pros. These are a set of wireless earbuds. I don't even know why you should call them earbuds. Bud typically goes in. I would say, I don't know, ear apparatus, ear product, sound product, I really don't know. They kind of landed on buds because that's probably what's popular. The playtime on these is about 6 hours and up to 24 hours with the charging case. So I've seen a myriad of different battery lives from 2 hours to 4 hours to 6 hours. And then whenever you add that charging case, typically you get 4 to 6 times more battery life. It can be up to 80 hours. These don't have a super long battery life, but I'm hoping, yeah, I can see because there's a 35 milliamp battery in each of the buds, and then you have a 350 milliamp battery in the charging case. So this is very indicative of a lot of the products that are on the marketplace, in the marketplace currently, and I'm anxious to see how you wear them. So I saw pictures, and it looks like they clip kind of like this. They clip like that, like an earring, which is interesting because if you've been out into the world lately, I don't know why this is acceptable. If you go to the grocery store, you go to Walmart, you go to Target, you go to some of those places, and what you'll see is a lot of times the employees actually have one bud in one ear. And from my perspective as an employer, that's kind of a distraction. Now I understand why they do it, possibly that they want to listen to music throughout the day, so you just put one bud in and it's not too distracting. But I personally, you need to focus on your work. You make sure you get your work done. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Originally, I thought maybe that was part of a network and you have that bud in your ear and you can listen to maybe an announcement from work or something like that. That might be the case. If that's the case, then you know, I'll shut my mouth. But at the end of the day, these kind of look like jewelry. So these might be a solution for those that are working in the marketplace, Starbucks, whatever, and you need something that isn't too distracting because these don't look like your typical buds. Looks like the product, UK, Turkey, EC, Soundpeats. So these came to me via Amazon. So let's go ahead and look on Amazon and see how much they cost. Okay, so here we are on Amazon.com, and I put in the search criteria box up here, Soundpeats, and their store came up, which is always really awesome. They've got a store here on Amazon, so if the PearlClip Pros are not your cup of tea, it looks like they've got a myriad of different options, from hybrid noise cancellation to some open earbuds, immersive, and here are the PearlClip Pros, and it looks like the retail's $60, $59.99, with a limited time deal of $39.99. Looks like they come in a different color options right here. IPX5 waterproof, 24 hours of play with, I'm not signing in, Ultra open earbuds, wireless Bluetooth 5.4, clip-on earbuds with microphone, cycling or fitness, which we will see about that. It says made of 70% silicone and memory steel. Interesting. It says they adapt to various ear shapes with ensuring durability. Exceptional sound quality, 12mm drivers, hassle-free charging, audio adaptive left and right channels, no need. Okay, so they're kind of uni. They don't need to go left or right. And mic noise apply. Okay, so if you want to read more on the details, they've got a bunch of stuff here, high-res audio, so on and so forth, PearlClip Pro, immersive spatial audio, so they support spatial audio, which is really nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to unbox these. Yeah, they're not that heavy. Memory alloy, so it's a lot of information here. So if you want to go ahead and check them out, go to Amazon.com, punch in Soundpeats, and read all of the details and minutia pertaining to the PearlClip Pros. So what I'm going to do is what I typically do. I do a really short unboxing, then I look at the documentation. So what I've noticed, some of the companies now that produce AirPods, EarPods, you know, stuff like this, earphones, is they come with a phone application. This is pretty important as it applies to customization and overall user experience. I'm hoping Soundpeats has an app, but at the end of the day, I just reviewed a product that did not have an app, but I was able to go in and make some adjustments on my phone. So I will be pairing these with an Apple device. I do have a Samsung device that I can also pair them with, but I will just be pairing them exclusively with the Apple product because this phone is a little bit older. I think it's a Samsung Galaxy Flip 4 or 5. But the process is probably the same. You switch on your Bluetooth, so on and so forth. So enough yapping. Let's go ahead and start the unboxing process and the pairing process. And I'm going to give my initial comments with regards to feel. Now, we are going to do a drawing today, and I will be wearing these. And I will be trying to utilize the microphone that's in the earbud itself. I did that on the last rotation video, so hopefully we can get that in there and you can kind of hear the sound quality, because earbud and phone videos are very hard because you can't hear anything as as a viewer. It's very hard. You can only really rely upon the reviewer's opinion, and typically I give a value of 1 to 10, 10 being the ultimate earphone. I haven't experienced a 10 yet. I've gotten close with my Sonys. Those are really good, but I think I only rated those at about 8 or 8.5 because of, again, ear fatigue. So let's go ahead and get started with the unboxing, and then we're going to put them on. We're going to listen to them and see how they roll. And at the end, we'll do a short drawing, just kind of telling you what I'm feeling, what I'm hearing, and hopefully these will come up to the level that I really need them to be. So yeah, I talked about immersion, and I'm going to view these as a device that is not immersive. So let's go ahead and get started. And here we are in the unboxing process. So what I talked about full immersion, and you guys that are familiar with earphones and earbuds understand, so whenever you have a product like these Tozos right here, and you have this large silicone or neoprene or whatever material they're using, it basically, you put this in the ear and it encloses the ear canal completely from the outside sound. And then they use these microphones right here basically for noise cancellation. So any noise that comes in, it sends a signal to your ear basically to cancel out that outside sound. So that's what the full immersion is. The problem with these is on the other side of the equation, in your ear canal, you have all this moisture. And if you're working out, all the moisture really causes problems. And that's why if you look, a lot of times, people that work out in earbuds, you've got all this crustiness and it's real disgusting that is inside of the bud itself. And even though you can look at that and go, okay, that's, I mean, I want full immersion. The challenge with that is this neoprene, this element right here, is constantly pushing out on your ear, and you get ear fatigue. So these are the Sony's, I think they're WX1000 MX4s. These were the latest and greatest before the current 5s come out. And you see I've replaced the bud right here with memory foam. And memory foam to me works a little bit better overall, but these, although really good, these were probably some of the best I've ever used. The battery, after about a year and a half, I started having charging issues, and the battery started having issues, and overall these aren't in really rotation anymore because of that battery issue, even though I think these were like $350 brand new. So when you compare stuff like the PearlClip Pros, which kind of alleviate a lot of those issues that quote-unquote I have, then you look at the price point of $39.99 and $60 retail, you kind of think to yourself, why would I ever buy something like this that after a few years starting having issues? I mean, that's a lot of money for these. I mean, I didn't pay that much for these, but the reality is it's hard for me to justify purchasing something like this whenever you have something like this currently in the marketplace that really is awesome. So overall presentation, I mean, we're cellophane, we've got nice printing, we've got some gloss printing right there, UV. These look like they maybe could hang in a store, which is fine. The box is really good, nice and thick. And trust me, whenever you have a company that's willing to spend a little bit more on presentation, it really kind of is a tell. I talk about boxes and stuff like that because I'm a package designer as well in my professional field, because I design toys, and whenever you have a package that is part of the user experience, it's definitely something that I look out for. So again, nice presentation. Here's the quote-unquote star of the show. Nice, feels good. So let's go ahead and put the box to the side. I like this. You've got this right here, goes in here. Okay, and then we've got the charge cable. Standard USB-C cable. I've got a lot of these. Actually, it's not. This is not a USB-C cable. It says Type-C, but okay, so Type-C into the unit itself, but then we have USB-A, and I've seen this numerous times. Now, a lot of the companies are going to USB-C and USB-C, both male ends, to plug into a lot of the standard chargers that are out there right now. But I do have a spare charger on hand, so just plug that in there, and you should be good to go. So let's put that to the side. Look at the documentation. One thing I don't see, well, no, we're good. No, I was in error. Okay, so here is the Pete's Audio. Wow, yay, they've got an app. Yes, I love that. Whenever I see stuff like this, not only Google Play Store, but also on the App Store, I can download Pete's Audio, and I'll be able to customize yeah, see, it says additional 6 months warranty, total 18 months warranty, which is awesome. And then we've got, you can reset and customize earbuds, personalized equalization, yes. Detailed electronic user manual, excellent. All of those things that are in the app, and they come in different languages. We're going to put that right there. Here's the user guide, and did they give me stickers? Oh my gosh, and they got a character. Look at him, he's so cute. He's jamming on the plane, he's camping. He's working out, he's doing stuff on the skateboard, riding a mountain bike, which is what I do. I'm a mountain biker. Riding through the park, so on and so forth. So this is, again, they don't have to do this. This is kind of that extra layer of fun that you get. Now, these would be great for a gift. These earbuds, great for a gift. Give them to whoever, and then you get stickers. I love stickers. Here we are, the user guide, so on. So we'll be reading this here briefly. I'm not going to bore you with the semantics and all of these things, but it is important. So these are touch control. You guys, if you've been on my channel before, you know that I'm not a huge fan of touch control because I have glasses. I touch them and they turn off and they skip forward and so on and so forth. And it is a challenge for me. Not for everybody, so we're going to see how these fly. I mean, I've got the AirPod Pro 2's latest and greatest generation, and I think that's some of the most garbage touch controls on the planet. I mean, they want you to grab that tiny little shaft and push up like this for the volume control. Garbage! So let's go ahead and we'll open these up really quick. Slide off the... Wow, very shiny. Kind of grippy, too. I like that. It looks painted. A lot of these are just plastic. This looks like painted. So here's little Soundpeats debossed in there. And they've got the USB charge port. I don't know what this is. Probably some lights. No, I don't know what that is. Oh. It's a button. Probably to determine charge. So these have a charge. I don't know how much charge. We'll check in the app. But you open these up. And it looks like they've got a little, you gotta remove these so they start charging. Wow, the quality. Oh my goodness gracious me. We're gonna go ahead and remove these tiny little stickers. Little stickers, they're on my finger. Let go. Look, I can't get it off. Let go. I do love me some stickers, but those are... Bleh. Okay, so it looks like this side's a little bit bigger than this side. We're going to determine which side goes in your head. So you can see two little contacts right there coincide with the battery. And they're magnetic. And here they are charging. So again, we take off that sticker. And we take off this sticker. And put them together. There are a few things that kind of... Nope, we're going to move on. I was going to give you an insight. Okay, so again, here we are. There's the two little contacts in there with the main contact at the bottom. So this is probably metallic. That might be the ground. And these are the two positive leads. I really don't know. So here we are. We're charging. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug these in. We're going to let these charge for a little while. I'm going to go ahead and download the Soundpeats app. I'm just impressed. I mean, for $39? $39 compared to these $350 ones. I mean, I understand a lot of the R&D and tech is inside the Sony units, and Sony is a gargantuan company, so they're going to really charge a premium for their product. But in terms of presentation, fit and finish, and quality, I think these actually surpass just the overall presentation of the Sonys. So I'm impressed so far. Let's go ahead and look at the app. Okay, so, whoa, I gotta put this blade away. Whoa, slow down. Okay, so, yeah, let's look. Peats Audio, Soundpeats. This looks like it's in Soundpeats. There's a lot. Health and Fitness, Peats Air, Sports, Peats Audio. That's a utility. Okay, utility, Air Finder. Okay, so that's a utility. Utility, I don't know, let's look up Soundpeats. First of all, it's 1.5 stars. That is not good. Dynamic EQ, wireless series. Now a lot of stuff like that, 213 ratings, 1.5. So that is not great. It could be a myriad of different things. We'll look at that. Oh, it's his little character with the stickers. Okay, so let's go back. I don't know which one to download. So Pete's Audio. Ooh, okay. There, Deluxe, HS. This looks like it's all in a different language, so I don't want to download that one. Let's go ahead and download this one. Okay. See what happens. Okay, so here we are on my iPhone. I currently drive the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I believe they're up to 17 or possibly 18 now. I don't know. This one's just fine. It has all the latest and greatest Bluetooth technologies. So let's go ahead and pair. Let's go all the way back. We're going to go ahead and go in. Bluetooth. You can see all the lovelies. So let's go ahead. We'll open these up. Do that. Oh, here we go. Soundpeats Pearl. Very nice. Yay. Okay, so let's go to the app. Agree. Typically they want you to register product. 30 million units. That's really cool. Okay, English. Guidance support. 30 days. No reason return. 12 months. Quality guarantee. Yeah, see, they want you to go ahead and do the sign up of their stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I've created a user account on the app, so let's go ahead and add device. Connecting. Yay! Look at that. 100% left, 100% right, and looks like we had probably a 65 to 70% product extended warranty. We got an extra, looks like 6 months of warranty just because we used the application. Okay, submit. Order ID required. Oh, they want to validate the order identification. Interesting. Since these are currently a review, I don't have, or do I? Let's check. Okay, so if you had ordered these from Amazon, you would have your Amazon order ID and you would place that in there, and that would give you that 18-month warranty. Currently, these come with a 12-month warranty, but we're going to go ahead and hit cancel because I didn't order these. I had these provided by Soundpeats, so we're going to go ahead and hit cancel. And we're going to look at the app. Looks pretty straightforward. Disable touch control. Yay, I can do that. Fantastic. Oh, you can do a game mode. Dynamic equalization. Touch operation. Oh, very nice. Sound guide equalizer. You can go in and change your classic. Let's go ahead and do rock and roll. Adaptive EQ. Different frequencies. Tap heard when audible. Stop music. Okay, so that's a test. Basically, adaptive EQ based on your environment. You can customize your sound if you don't want to use one of their presets. It's got to find your earbud in case you lose them. Allow while using the app. So let's go ahead and hit play. It shows where they are. Maybe it just has to do with the app. Okay, so movie mode. Wow, interesting. Firmware update. Let's see if there's a firmware update. Currently, we're checking for firmware. Latest version installed. Very nice. And you can reset if you're going to get rid of them or if you're going to sell them. Products. They've got a store. It looks like on their app. You could probably order stuff right through their application. They've got a lot. Wow. Open ear, enclosed. Very nice. Space Light Explore. Oh wow. And they've got some sounds. Like if you have tinnitus or anything like that, you can use white noise, EQ space. Okay, so what's really nice, and I've seen a couple other companies do this. So these are preset equalizations, probably, that these users have created, and you can download them and you can use them. That's pretty cool. But we're gonna go ahead, customer live chat. Wow, they've got customer service right in their application, and I can change my ID. Maybe I can change this, so on and so forth. So we're going to do all that off camera, but overall I'm pretty impressed with the application. So let's go ahead and put them on to see how they ride. Okay, so yeah, initial feel of the case. First of all, I like it. It's slippery, but it's got a grip to it. It's kind of in that medium between super slippery and rubberized, which I prefer rubberized because I like to be able to pick stuff up on the first try. These feel like they slide in your pocket. So the rubberization, if you were to take these and put them in your pocket, it would cause some friction, and that's why they do things slippery like this, so they can slide in your pocket with no problem at all. I've had a couple other cases that, like these, so I put this case on here on my Sonys, and this rubberization, even though it acts as a really good protector, it grips in my pocket, and it's kind of unruly in terms of size. The Soundpeats unit looks to be pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and open these up, and we're going to place them on the ear. It looks like the teardrop portion, which looks like a teardrop right here, you can see the teardrop. That looks like it goes on the inside of the ear because I can see the speaker right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, place it in, and if you look, I mean, it kind of looks like a piece of jewelry. Look at it. That's pretty sweet. Okay, so equalization, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do rock. I am on the application right here, rock and roll. Okay, we're just going to fly with it. Dynamic EQ. I'm really not sure what dynamic EQ, but it sounds impressive. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to do music. I am a fan of classic rock. Not only from the 60s, but also 70s. I mean, vintage rock is really cool too. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to... Okay, I shifted gears a little bit. I am going to go into the movie scores whenever I probably sit down and listen at my desk here over the next few days, because I typically don't do a review in one day and give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I need to use the product. I need to see how it feels. So let's go ahead. We're going to listen to 80s music. I am a 80s child after all. These actually live in the mid-range. It doesn't have a lot of bass. Kind of the upper hertz range, but I can still hear myself speaking, but the overall feel is it's got a really good round sound. It doesn't have a full sound, but it's a round sound, and I'm pretty sure that's because it's just on the outside. Now, if it were to go in the ear and start touching all the flesh, the fleshy stuff, and in the cartilage, then I would get a fuller sound, but again, that's not what these are designed for. I was concerned initially with them coming off, but I'm shaking my head, and it does feel really good. They are clipped on really good, and it doesn't look like I'm wearing... Looks like I'm wearing an earring. Yeah, that's a different sound. Okay, so comparatively speaking, how would I rate these in terms of just overall initial swing? My initial swing's probably about a 7 out of 10, and I give that because I can hear all the music. Now I use lossless music, so if any of you understand what HD audio is or lossless sound, it has to do with how they compress music for streaming, and MP3s and stuff like that, they're just not any good. You have to really have a sound file that encompasses exactly what the artist wanted to do, and those files are much bigger. We're talking 15, 16, 20 megabytes for some song, a single song, whereas a single song on an MP3 might be 3 to 5, depending on how they compressed it. But overall, like I said, it's got a linear sound. I would equate these, maybe, I'm trying to give you a really good example. It doesn't have a lot of bass. It doesn't have a lot of highs. It's really right in that mid-range. The voices are really clear. Okay, I'm going to find a little bit more of a bassy song. So currently, the song previous, I listened to Aha, Take On Me. Very good, very crisp. Everything's really good. Now I'm going to listen to Africa by Toto. It's got that intro with all the bongos and the drums. Nice highs. Very clear. Nice round, not bassy at all, not feeling any pain, not feeling any ear fatigue initially. Very good. Now, do the voices sound amazing? No. Is it a recognizable song that I've heard all my life? Yes, and I know intuitively my brain is kind of filling in some of those blanks in terms of how the song is really supposed to sound. Again, these are not immersive headphones. Don't expect that they're going to change your life in any way, but as an option for riding a bicycle, for being in the gym, for being in your studio, I think being in the studio is kind of on the edge. Maybe if you're in a larger art environment and you need to have input from other people, or like I said before, if you're in a retail situation and you need to wear these for work. So let's go ahead, let's find a song that has a little bit more bass. All my 80s songs. Okay, under Love Shack. Okay, Love Shack has a really nice beat to it. That's by the B-52s. Not bad. Voices are clear. Not, again, these aren't bass headphones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the EQ. Okay, currently my equalization is on, okay, let's go bass boost. Let's see what that's like. Okay. The adjustment was negligible. I can't really hear any difference. It might be different on a over the ear. Well, maybe a little bit, tiny bit. Sounds good. I think overall, these definitely an option. Okay, we're going to go to Electric Avenue. Okay. I'm not getting spatial audio. It says spatial audio on the box, I believe. Let's go and look in the app, see if there's a spatial audio setting. Okay, I switched over to some spatial audio music, lossless. What we're going to do now is go ahead and rotate through a few songs and see if it does indeed have spatial audio. Very clear. Very clear music. Instruments extremely clear, linear, not overly tinny. Don't have a metallic sound. Very good. Voices are amazing. Typically with spatial audio, you can turn your head and the source will stay the same area. Like this, like here's the source. You turn your head and it'll change. No, but not feeling any or hearing any spatial audio elements, which is okay. I mean, at $39.99, you can expect the world to change. So, all right, not bad. I think the tell really will be over the next day or so as I review these units that either something's going to jump at me and basically say, oh, this is not really feeling it, or it's going to be like, wow. Now, I can tell you one thing, no ear fatigue at all. They feel fantastic, really good. But we're going to go ahead and wear these, and I'm going to go ahead and start the drawing video wearing them and narrating through the drawing, because that's exactly how I would use them. I would probably also use these in a workout setting, and I might do that as well, and possibly riding a bicycle. Now, one of the things that I also do is outside maintenance, lawn maintenance, stuff like that, and I have had a couple occasions where the earbud was ripped out of my ear because of trees or whatever. But we're not gonna do that. I'm just explaining to you how I would use these. Now, in terms of working out, like lifting weights and stuff like that, I do walk and some running occasionally, but I do mountain bike, and that constantly up and down hills, so that might be a test as well. So let's go ahead and get busy with the drawing. Okay, so here we are in my native environment of the studio. So I'm sitting at my work desk. This is basically where I do all my professional work. This is exactly how I would use the Soundpeats, as well as doing exercise, but I'm not going to get into that in this particular video. So what I like about these, I think, and I've mentioned this in a little bit of the unboxing, and especially when I started putting them on, is the design. I love the design of these. It's something very unique, something that isn't like a lot of the other earbuds or earphones that I've seen out there. And the quality of the sound has been absolutely spectacular. Now, these being a non-in-the-ear or completely encompassing the ear, they're just right on the outside. And if you look, you can see they're just right nestled right into that sweet zone. And with that microphone in the drivers, I'm getting really good linear, clear voices. I'm not getting heavy bass, but from my viewpoint and just overall feeling of the product, I don't think I'm going to have any kind of ear fatigue issues at all. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just start drawing and utilizing these exactly how I would in the studio. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the microphone to pair with the microphone in the earbud to pair and be utilized by the phone. So that's kind of a bummer, but we're going to go ahead and possibly turn on some music. Maybe in a time lapse or something like that. But in the beginning, I'm just going to be narrating a little bit over what I'll be doing as far as a drawing. So hopefully that gives you context and clarity. So here we are in my preview program. This is the reference that I'll be utilizing today. This is, what kind of bird is this? What do they call these? Oh, an orb weaver. I believe this is an African orb weaving bird. I like these reference packs, so I typically will purchase a reference pack or subscribe to somebody that provides royalty-free reference for illustration, and that's exactly what this is. I paid for these photographs, and then I like to go to zoos. I talked about this in a couple of the other videos that I've done. I like going to zoos and taking my own reference of animals. That way I don't have to pay for pictures. It's very important for me to have reference, but it gives me scale, context. It allows me to look at the creature in a way that educates me, and I think that's very important. So I encourage you to use reference. Now, obviously, you don't want to be attached to the reference to where you can't be creative, so the more and more you use reference, the more and more it builds up your visual library, and the more you can actually create images without having to look at reference. Because even though everybody has one of these, which is a hand, most of us anyway, unless something befalled you, but if I asked you to draw a hand, a lot of us would have challenges, because even though we look at one all the time, we don't really understand the mechanics of it and the anatomy of it and overall volume and perspective and stuff like that. So this is just a really good example, hands, because a lot of artists have troubles drawing hands and feet, but I definitely think reference would help. So that's what we're going to be utilizing today. So let's go ahead and put that up. And we're going to be drawing in Photoshop today. Now, this is sort of a hybrid video today because I'm doing drawing and I'm also reviewing the Soundpeats product. So at some point in time during this drawing process, I will probably put you guys on time lapse so I can go ahead and utilize the audio portion review of this product, of the earbuds. So composition. So I like drawing really fast, and I usually like thinking of rhythm and flow and how things flow in and out and how things are broken down into sections of the illustration. So there's something called a rule of thirds where you break the illustration down kind of in a grid pattern. And this also has to do with photography. And this isn't so much a rule as it is kind of a guide. Rules are there to kind of, I don't want to say put you in a box, but they're just things that work. And guides are here to kind of be flexible. And this is more or less a guide to help you whenever it comes to composition. So part of the illustrator's tool belt has to do with understanding a narrative, and a narrative is telling a story. And a lot of times composition and the way you lead the eye with regards to telling a story in a picture really will strengthen the illustration. It helps give context, it helps give placement of the viewer, and helps the viewer be part of the illustration and be active. I've seen a lot of times where illustrators really kind of leave out the viewer and the illustration suffers for it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start using the rule of thirds. So these intersection areas are typically areas that are okay whenever you're telling an overall perspective story, meaning that you're focusing on the character or element in the illustration, and you're going to be telling a story around him in reference to where the viewer is. Now, if I were to put stuff right here, I'm focusing solely on on the character, and it's all about him, and all of this stuff around here is going to be secondary. So we're going to probably place this bird probably around here somewhere, again, because we want to kind of give that I'm part of your viewpoint in the context of the illustration. Hopefully I didn't just confuse you guys, but it all has to do, again, with the storytelling. So I'm going to go ahead and just start breaking things up in the illustration. And we're not going to get too detailed today because, again, I'm reviewing a pair of earbuds. Not going into teaching you all about illustration and framing elements and stuff like that, but we are going to talk about those things. So again, I've got these two, this nice wedge right here, if you can see that, and I'm going to put that bird we looked at just a minute ago right around here, and then we're going to use just simple shapes to start out with, because whenever you're doing sketches, you don't want to get too mired down in the details too quickly. So that looks pretty good. Then we're going to have an element come across here, not too much. Maybe we'll do just something simple. So we're going to have that come right here. What I've noticed about the Soundpeats is I don't really know they're there. I mean, I'm trying to think about them. Yeah, okay, so I have that here. Now I don't have to stick to the overall exacting design of the orb weaver. I can give it a little bit more character, and I can stylize things. Stylization is something that is in the illustrator's tool belt to help him or her make things quote-unquote unique. So if I wanted to make the beak larger, if I wanted to make things a little bit different, I can. This is not a science channel per se. I don't need to make things perfect. as it applies to the reference. I can kind of have a little bit of fun and use a little bit of artistic license. Okay, and it comes around here when you have the bottom. There is a principle called the draw through. And draw through, again, you see how I'm drawing completely through this branch the bird is on. Again, I can change the width of that branch if I want to, which I'm probably going to do. I'm going to make it right around here. But that draw through, again, helps me place the bottom of that feather tail. Okay, so now we come back. And I've put in sort of the roadmap right now. The roadmap, and I've talked about this before in illustration work, the roadmap is a very loose generalization of where stuff goes. And typically I'll use very simple shapes. I'll use lines, motion lines. I'll use lattice lines. I'll use whatever works in the context of getting the job done. Like this. So right now, I know this is a 3D object. I know that the bird has form. And I'm going to show you a trick too. Working digitally too really helps, because I can Control Z if I quote unquote make a mistake. So a lot of people ask me, oh, how much do you draw a day? How much do you draw? I think it varies. Definitely varies. I used to draw a lot. I'd have a warm-up. I would have multiple hours of drawing at work. And then I would basically get off work. And then I would probably sit down with a tablet and I would draw again. And I did that because I was a firm believer in quantity to weed out a lot of the quote-unquote bad habits that I had formed over years and years of working in the industry. So we as artists, we create our own problems a lot of times. So you do things like if you work in the industry, if you work in illustration, graphic design, or animation, you find what are called efficiencies. And efficiencies, no matter what they are, really, I don't want to say they work against you, because they don't, because you do them to solve problems quickly. However, a lot of them, I mean, some of them just really bad habits. Like, I remember a guy, he was a really good illustrator, but he got in the really quote-unquote habit of photo bashing. And I'm nothing against photo bashing. I understand there's a need for it. But he stopped drawing, and he just started placing things together and assembling things. Now, that is a way of drawing. But at the end of the day, he finally got to the point where he's like, I don't want to do art anymore. I go, why? And he said, because I've lost my zeal for it. I said, dude, you lost your zeal for it because you've let your efficiency become your voice. And he was like, what does that mean? Blah, blah, blah. What are you, a poet of some kind? I said, no. I said, you're basically allowing the process of stress and timeline to dictate your passion. You need to find your passion. So you need to separate work from passion. Work is work. You're going to find efficiencies. You need to make money. You need to get the job done. But then you have your passion, which you can take 3 days on a drawing. And he was like, huh. And eventually he found exactly what he was looking for. He found his passion again, and he started drawing, and it was just awesome. Just to see that was worth the conversation. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking at the reference, and I'm trying to determine what makes the most sense as far as these branches. I've kind of nailed the proverbial composition. Okay. Comes up like that. And again, I talked about composition and placement and eye lines. So it goes right here. And these are basically nullifying the corners. And you have this big open space down here, which is kind of competing with this. I don't like that. And then I did have a branch come up. I'm going to do this. That's pretty good. Okay. Again, I've taken liberties with the character design. He's not quite a realistic looking bird, but at the end of the day, I'm okay with that because this is just an exercise. So far, I like how the Soundpeats feel. Let's go ahead and do this. Whoops. I like how they feel. They're not inhibiting. They're not causing ear fatigue or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put you guys on time lapse while I go ahead and turn on the music, because I want to be able to, let's go ahead and do this. I want to be able to listen to music and review these earphones effectively. So before I do that, though, I'm going to go ahead and place a little bit of light and dark and contrast in the background. It's just to make things pop a little bit more. A little trick for those of you who have challenges when it comes to foliage. So foliage, first of all, is not hard to draw. The challenge comes where we start trying to draw every little leaf, and especially stuff in the distance. So whenever stuff's in the distance, squint your eyes. Squint your eyes, and then what that does is it really kind of levels everything out in your brain and calm things down in terms of detail, because it nullifies a lot of the detail and makes it into light and dark, right? So you do this, and then suddenly you see shapes. You just see simple shapes, right? You see contrast, you see shapes, you see dark and light. And for me, that is really a good thing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change my brush. Okay. General brushes. No, I like the digital watercolor. I mean, I can. Digital watercolor is not terrible. Again, I'm doing this. So we're going to go ahead. We're just going to block in simple stuff over here. It's going to be a little bit dark right here. Okay, right here. Stuff in the foreground obviously is going to be darker. Stuff in the background is going to be lighter. Okay. And the branches are always going to be darker. So we're going to go ahead and make those dark. Again, that's kind of like the framing element here. We're using the branches as the framing element. It's not too bad. Not too bad. And the bird is going to have some nice contrast on it. Right here. Again, squinting. That squint is going to help you immensely. Okay, and I'm going to change brushes because that watercolor brush is stealing some of my resources. Kyle's Mega Pack. No, Joel Santana. So I love the Losh brushes. Loish. They've got really, I got to turn on the, got really good pressure curve to them. So let's go ahead and make some contrast. Come around here. Nice. Again, I'm squinting a lot. I don't know if you can see that. Let's go ahead. And you'll see me zoom out a lot too, because whenever I zoom out, it gives me a different perspective and I can see things in terms of silhouette. Silhouette is a great tool to use when telling stories because it helps lead the eye line, and you as an illustrator can see, okay, what's the maximum contrast in this piece and where is the subject popping out. So let's go ahead and hit that. A little bit lighter. No, a little highlight right there. Let's go on the top. Here, okay. Here. Got a really bright highlight right here on the. Then we have some bounced stuff right there. Beak. Yeah, the beak is the maximum right there. And don't be afraid to have a little fun. I mean, you gotta understand, drawing is supposed to be fun, and when you start putting so much angst and anger on it, it ceases to be fun anymore.
I was talking to a buddy of mine recently, and I saw some of the drawings that he did, and I could tell there was so much angst. And I said, wow. I said, did you have some struggle with that? Oh, yeah. I just couldn't get those lines perfect. And I said, well, there's your problem. I said, you're trying for perfection. And you just started. Don't try for perfection. Just have some fun. Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to double down on that line work. Okay, we're going to go ahead and darken this slightly. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on time lapse really quick, and we're not going to go really deep with this illustration, but we are going to listen to some tunes so you can see so far I really don't even feel the Soundpeats are there, so that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and I'm going to come back. I'm going to go ahead and push that line work a little bit back so it's still, I can still see it. But now I'm going to come back with a little bit finer brush and kind of tighten things up just a little bit. I don't want it to be too tight. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So here's where we landed with regards to the image. As you can see, I didn't go too deep. Spent probably, maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes, something like that. Just a really quick doodle. This would probably be what I would consider a value study. Something to work out composition, something to work out placement, and value, lights and darks. Obviously, this is literally just a really quick to show the prowess and the presence of the Soundpeats. Now, what do I think of the Soundpeats overall? So let's get to that. Okay. So overall, I was extremely surprised with regards to the sound. My initial swing on items like this is very guarded, I would say, because they don't fit directly in the ear, and these being right on the outside of the ear, I wasn't really prepared for the quality of sound. So what do I give them in terms of a 1 to 10, them being designed like they are? I give them probably a 9 for sound. Now that's that linear sound, not too high, not too low, not bassy. It's got a really crisp quality to it. And overall, it's really good. It's just a good sound. It doesn't sound hollow. It doesn't sound like it's in a tunnel. It sounds literally like I've got somebody singing in my ear. It's similar to what you would hear if you were to go to like a concert and you're listening and you're like, wow. And obviously they have bass and emulated sounds that really make you feel the sound a lot better. That's not these. And I really don't think those that are interested in purchasing products like this would go and say, I'm going to buy the Soundpeats because they've got super extra bass. No, if you want that, then you go towards one of the other guys' products, because honestly, that's not what these are about. So for sitting in the studio, for possibly bike riding, for being at the gym. I mean, I would have to say yes. Can they be pulled off pretty easily? No. You see it's pulling my ear, and I'm tugging them pretty good, and I shake my head, and they're not falling out. I was really concerned with regards to these, and whenever I first put them on, I thought, dude, are they even on my ear? So yeah, the reason why I did things, and I'm doing things a little bit different on the channel with regards to reviewing products like this, is because I want to make sure that I can use them in the studio environment, whether I'm drawing, whether I'm painting, bending over, going backwards, you know, maybe cleaning some brushes, turning my head quickly. I want to make sure that they stay connected. So based upon the Bluetooth, I mean, they stay connected really well. They're not dropping out. And overall, I'm pretty impressed. Now, in terms of battery life, that's the big question mark. So I thought it said, did it say 6 hours of battery life with 24 hours total of charging? So you get 24 hours of play, but each throw of the listening experience is 6 hours long. So I think that's okay. And one of the things I did notice, and I had commented on this before, was the case, even though it was really slippery, and I understand why they did that, it's going to fit in your pocket, I was still able to hold on to it. I kind of rescind that. This slips out of your hand very easily, and I don't have greasy hands. My hands are dry. I'm not a sweaty Betty. So definitely consider that whenever you purchase these. I don't know if they can sell a case with these or not, but maybe something a little bit more grippy because it slips. Now, what's interesting is the form factor itself is conducive to them slipping out of your hands, especially whenever you go to take them out. I was doing some stuff outside today using my AirPod Pros 2, and they're so small. Those are so small, and it just flew out of my hand and into the grass. I'm like, really? So just consider that whenever you think about these and you're purchasing. How big they are and the sizing will play a factor. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you guys how I would use the Soundpeats, and based upon what my experience is so far, I definitely give them 2 thumbs up. Great sound overall, good quality in terms of initial experience and feel. And we'll see on the battery life. We'll see on the fact if they're going to last another 6 months or even a year or even 2 years. I really don't know. Definitely read the reviews on Amazon and visit Soundpeats in general. They definitely have more than one product. I think they have they do have a store, so they've got a lot of different things for you guys, whether it be traditional, whether it be over the ear, on the ear, in the ear. They've definitely got a product for whoever is interested in upgrading or maintaining or as a gift. So hopefully you got something from the video today, and I hope that you will consider Soundpeats going forward. I certainly will. And as an added perk for you guys, the Soundpeats people have given me a discount code, and that is listed down in the description with the link to the PearlClip Pros that I reviewed in this particular video. That code is capital SPPCPYTSPO8. Just for your reference, it is down, and you get 5% off. That's pretty cool from the guys and gals over there at Soundpeats. So, again, I think you should definitely give them some of your attention because they're a great option, and at $60 retail and $39 on sale currently, plus you get 5% off. That's really a deal. So, hopefully you guys liked the video. I will be doing more videos like this with the drawing component added, whether it's a drawing component, whether it's a sketching, painting, 3D sculpting, chainsaw carving, ice carving, whatever we're going to do, metal work, it doesn't really matter. As long as it applies to the art studio, I'm interested in reviewing it. So, we'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye. And a big shout out to Soundpeats for letting me review their product. It was awesome. So definitely, if you like the video, share and like and subscribe if you like what you see. And go out as always and have a little fun today. Have a good one, guys. Bye.